Here are the top stories for today, February 18, 2020. President Duterte allows the use of the marijuana extract Cannabidiol for treating epilepsy. The Bureau of Immigration is set to investigate personnel allegedly involved in bribery with Chinese nationals. A lawmaker says media giant ABS-CBN's franchise cannot be resurrected with a provisional authority. And FIBA pushes through with its 3-on-3 tournament in India despite the threat of a COVID-19 outbreak.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte has no problem with the Dangerous Drugs Board resolution allowing the use of cannabidiol or marijuana for alleviating severe forms of epilepsy. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo made the statement after DDB Chair Catalino Cuy said the approval of CBD will invalidate a medical marijuana bill since the medicine can be taken for compassionate use. Malacanang said Duterte is in favor of similar drugs for medicinal purposes, stressing that it would have to be a case-to-case basis. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo on Monday said he does not see Duterte having a problem with it since he once said he was for medical marijuana.
Pag kailangan na kailangan sa ikabubuhay ng isang tao at merong scientific findings or medical findings na pwede yun, hindi siya kukontra.
I think so.
Siguro, case to case.
House Ways and Means Committee Chair Joey Salceda on Monday commended President Duterte for signing an executive order that would set maximum drug retail prices on selected medicines. Salceda said the newly signed EO is expected to lower the costs of expensive prescriptions by as much as 56%. Salceda called for the passage of House Bill 6219 or the proposed Cheaper Medicines for All Act that would seek to include medical supplies and medically necessary assistive equipment such as prosthetics in the coverage. The bill, which is an enhancement of the Cheaper Medicines Law, allows the government to bargain for lower prices of the drugs it procures. The bill also promotes the use of the cheapest available drugs with the same effect as branded medicine. Following President Rodrigo Duterte's move to abrogate Manila's 22-year-old visiting forces agreement with Washington, D.C., experts say the Philippines can now be self-reliant when it comes to enhancing its military defense capabilities. In a media forum held in Quezon City, political analyst Ramon Casiple said the Philippines can give support to Filipino troops and combat terrorism even without the VFA. He said the Philippines does not need the scrapped military deal as the VFA merely gives Washington, D.C. the pleasure than Manila. He also echoed Philippine officials' stance that the military pact was more advantageous to American forces than Filipino troops. Meanwhile, UP professor Bobby Tuason warned the government of possible grave repercussions of Duterte's move to scrap the VFA. Tuason said the current administration should be ready to face bigger challenges such as the military and economic sanctions that might be imposed by the United States against the Philippines. It also cautioned that Washington might implement possible visa restrictions for Filipinos and might take retaliatory actions against Filipinos residing and working in the United States. Malacanang denied that President Duterte was campaigning for U.S. President Donald Trump when he praised the latter for being a good leader by respecting the Philippines' decision to scrap VFA. Duterte terminated the VFA following the cancellation of U.S. visa of his ally, former Philippine National Police Chief and Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa. Apart from de la Rosa's canceled U.S. visa, the travel ban imposed on Philippine officials linked to Senator Laila de Lima's arrest, the American senators' call to release de Lima, and the passage of the Senate resolution condemning Duterte's drug war were also among the reasons for the VFA revocation. Although the Duterte administration appreciates the United States' help in crushing the Islamic State terrorists during the Marawi siege in May 2017, Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo reiterated that it is time for the Philippines to strengthen its own defense capabilities and learn to stand on its own.
Sabi ni Presidente, power in his shoes, I would be doing the same. And I'm sure he would have done the same kung siya yung Filipino president. Kaya that makes him a good president and he deserves to be re-elected.
Malacanang is still weighing on the case of Colonel Jovi Espinido's alleged involvement in illegal drugs. And PDEA engages the youth sector to stay away from drugs. More on this from Joyce Cudis.
Malacanang on Monday said President Duterte's position that Lieutenant Colonel Jovi Espinido is not involved in the illegal drug trade could still change depending on intelligence information given to him. In a palace briefing, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo stressed that Duterte had several sources apparently showing Espinido was clean. He reiterated that the president believes that Espinido is only a victim of black propaganda.
Si Secretary Anyo meron siyang sariling pag-aaral na ginagawa. Ganon din ang PDEA. Si Presidente meron din. Kung on the basis of the study of the President, para sa kanya clean si Colonel Espinido, yun ang sasabihin niya.
In other news, 3 policemen in the Soc Sargent region are under investigation after being included in the latest narco list of President Duterte. Police Regional Office 12 Director Brigadier General Alfred Corpus said the 3 are among the 357 police personnel named in the drug list and were ordered to report to Camp Crame in Quezon City earlier this month. The 3 will be subjected to an adjudication process and considered innocent until proven guilty. Corpus said that the inclusion of the 3 policemen in the drug list should serve as a warning to their colleagues, especially those linked to illegal activities. Meanwhile, PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino is pushing for the creation of a uniform anti-drug advocacy program for Sangguniang Kabataan leaders and their youth constituents. Known as Sangguniang Kabataan Standard Training and Extensive Anti-Drug Preventive Education or SK Step Up, SK officials shall be responsible in the regular conduct of prevention activities and organizing anti-drug events in their barangays. The program aims to empower and inspire their age groups to stay away from illegal drugs. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Joyce Cudis.
Still to come, police arrest an optometrist for spreading fake news on the COVID-19 disease. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
The first step that the DOT did was to issue, next slide please, would issue guidelines to all of our stakeholders involved in tourism enterprises, especially the frontline services, to follow basic protocols. And this was issued even before the travel restrictions were made by the national government. Next slide. And the Secretary also led leaders of the industry, CEOs and presidents of associations to map out a tactical program to respond to the effect of COVID to tourism. In fact, just last week, we called on the President himself, together with the stakeholders, to talk about our tactical program. And this is a snapshot of some articles that came out with the President himself helping us talk about domestic tourism as a step towards responding to the impact of COVID to Philippine tourism, and advisory also on festivals and meetings. For as long as safety protocols are in place, they can proceed with it.
The Bureau of Immigration has ordered a probe on its personnel allegedly accepting bribes in exchange for escorting Chinese nationals working in Philippine offshore gaming operators, or POGOs. In an interview on Monday, BI spokesperson Dana Sandoval said Commissioner Jaime Morente is deeply alarmed at the exposés of the good Senator Risa Ontiveros during Monday's Senate hearing. He has also ordered a full-blown investigation to identify those who are possibly part of the syndicate and to file both administrative and criminal charges against them. Sandoval said the Bureau will coordinate with Ontiveros' office to get more details on the supposed scheme. The Philippine government has lifted a travel restriction on returning overseas Filipino workers in Hong Kong and Macau, the Department of Foreign Affairs announced Tuesday. DFA Undersecretary Brigido Dulay, in his official Twitter account, said the decision was made by the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Disease, which held a meeting on Tuesday afternoon. Earlier this month, President Rodrigo Duterte imposed a ban on Filipinos from traveling to China and its special administrative regions, Hong Kong and Macau, amid the threat of the COVID-19 outbreak. After a few days, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. recommended the removal of travel restriction on OFWs returning for work in Hong Kong, citing the territory's facilities to contain the coronavirus disease 2019. Education Secretary Leonor Briones on Monday slammed 2019 reports which showed that more than 70,000 elementary students in Bicol cannot read in both English and Filipino. She said the figure was exaggerated. Briones was referring to the results of pre-test administered by the Philippine Informal Reading Inventory, or PhilIRI, which refers to the revised assessment tool designed to determine a student's reading level. She said the results were exaggerated since it combined the number of students who had difficulty reading in English and Filipino and emphasized that not knowing how to read is different from being illiterate. She also asked the media to be careful in interpreting and reporting about the PhilIRI results. The Department of Foreign Affairs on Monday confirmed that 16 more Filipinos aboard a quarantined Diamond Princess cruise ship in Yokohama, Japan, tested positive for the coronavirus disease. This brings the total number to 27. In a Laging Handa press briefing in Malacanang, DFA Assistant Secretary Ed Meñe said that those identified as COVID-19 positive were brought to the hospital for better care. He said the Philippine Embassy, through the Japanese government, has delivered care packages containing toiletries and other supplies for the Filipino patients. The Philippine Embassy in Tokyo remains in close coordination with relevant Philippine and Japanese government agencies, representatives of the World Health Organization, and Princess Cruises to ensure that the needs of the Filipino crew and passengers are met and to facilitate their eventual return to the Philippines. He said their possible repatriation will need clearances from the Japanese government. The Philippine National Police has filed criminal charges against an optometrist who has been allegedly spreading fake news about the coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 on social media. PNP spokesperson Bernard Banac on Monday said cases have been filed against Josephil Brian Consuelo, an optometrist in Mandaue City, for violating the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group Director Dennis Agustin said Consuelo was arrested on February 13 after he was identified as the author of a Facebook post claiming that an alleged COVID-19 patient died at the University of Cebu Medical Center. Agustin said the Anti-Cybercrime Unit of Central Visayas conducted fast-checking and validated information, while the UC Med denied Consuelo's Facebook post. PNP Chief Archie Gamboa said he ordered intensified cyber patrol operations and monitoring against fake news. Gamboa urged the public to refrain from posting unverified information that creates panic and confusion. Authorities have placed a Belgian national and his Filipino wife on isolation after the man was suspected of having symptoms of the COVID-19 respiratory disease. More on this and other news from the provinces from Janice Cabe.
A Belgian national and his Filipino wife who came from Wuhan, China, are now in isolation at the Negros Oriental Provincial Hospital in Dumaguete City. This brings to 11 the total number of persons under investigation in relation to the coronavirus disease. The couple arrived in Dumaguete on Sunday and have traveled from Wuhan, China to different destinations in Manila, Bohol, and Siquijor. The man exhibited flu-like symptoms such as cough and sore throat upon arriving in the province. Meanwhile, the Department of Health in the Caraga region said it is closely watching a person under investigation for COVID-19. DOH 13 Director Joselia Cunes said the region's first PUI case is now in isolation in a medical facility in the region. The PUI is a 25-year-old who arrived from Hong Kong on January 29 with a history of travel to China a month before. In Zamboanga City, the City Health Office has just cleared 24 persons under monitoring for COVID-19 since January. Majority of the PUMs have travel history to China, Hong Kong, and Macau. The 24 PUMs have undergone observation and quarantine and all passed with flying colors. At present, there are still 2 PUMs in the city who are under home quarantine. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
In our business news, the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Policy Support Unit said the current sentiments of consumers and investors amid the COVID-19 outbreak could translate into significant risks in the Asia-Pacific. Although the APEC unit said COVID-19's impact on the regional economy is larger than the experience during the severe acute respiratory syndrome outbreak 18 years ago. It noted that China accounts for 21.4% of world gross domestic product compared to around 4.5% during the SARS outbreak. It said the epidemic amplifies the already fragile global economic environment due to trade tensions, Brexit, and environmental catastrophes in the region. It also observed a decline in travel and tourism, saying an adverse impact on retail and hospitality receipts as well as transport sales are expected to reverberate around the world. But the APEC PSU further said the Asia-Pacific can bounce back in this challenge as long as economies cooperate and introduce the right measures, such as in healthcare. Up next, a lawmaker says media giant ABS-CBN's franchise cannot be resurrected with a provisional authority. And FIBA pushes through with its 3x3 tournament in India despite the threat of a COVID-19 outbreak. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
It's more fun in the Philippines,
But it's more fun if it lasts.
SOS is a call for help.
To save our spots.
a campaign focused on sustainability.
And how applying it can make us better travelers
And more responsible tourists.
To make it simple,
dapat lang marunong tayong rumispeto.
Respect the environment.
Pick up the trash you see.
kahit hindi ikaw nagkalat.
Respect our culture and heritage.
Magpaalam bago kumuha ng pictures ng mga locals.
At huwag basta-basta hawakan ng sites.
Respect everyone around you.
Dapat good vibes tayo sa kapwa Pilipino.
At syempre sa mga foreign friends din natin.
Dahil dito sa SOS,
Sama-sama tayo.
and every little act we do can help make a big difference.
At home and while traveling.
Like opting for reusables,
Instead of disposables,
Biking and walking more.
using less electricity.
As long as we're consistent.
And we convince everyone around us to do the same.
We can change this country for the better.
Huwag natin babayaan ang Pilipinas.
Join this cause.
dapat hindi lang maganda ang pinupuntahan nating destinations
Dapat pinapaganda pa natin ito.
While we're there.
Let's appreciate and take more care.
of our nature's beauty. para more travels tayo around the country, more tourists,
Being more respectful.
and more fun in the Philippines.
Let's make our destinations last.
Save our spots.
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 Para more fun forever.
A lawmaker said the National Telecommunications Commission cannot on its own resurrect the legislative franchise of media giant ABS-CBN after its expiry on March 30th, 2020. Albay Representative Edsel Lagman reacted to suggestions that the network can secure a provisional authority even after its franchise expires. Lagman said only holders of a valid existing or renewed franchise can apply with the NTC for a certificate of public convenience and necessity. He urged the chamber to expedite the renewal of ABS-CBN's franchise, which has long been pending in the House Committee on Legislative Franchises. House leaders earlier claimed that ABS-CBN may still continue to operate until 2022 as long as there is a pending bill extending or renewing its franchise. Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano said the ABS-CBN franchise renewal must be discussed soberly and very reasonably at the lower chamber. He insisted that ABS-CBN's franchise is not an urgent matter and that hearing it now would mean other important issues would be neglected. The Department of Health is in close coordination with the city government of Cabanatuan in Nueva Ecija as it conducts local rapid response to address a polio outbreak. This after a one-year-old boy from the area was confirmed to be the first positive case of polio in central Luzon. The DOH said that the 2-week rapid response includes a catch-up immunization of children under 5 years of age who have missed oral polio vaccines or inactivated polio vaccine. Barangay officials are encouraged to assist in information dissemination and awareness activities and persuading parents and caregivers to bring their children to vaccination sites. The DOH likewise urged parents, health workers, and local governments to continue strengthening the routine immunizations and prevent and stop outbreaks and other vaccine-preventable diseases. The first positive case of polio in the region brought the total number of cases in the country to 17 since the outbreak was declared in September last year. In sports, the FIBA 3x3 Olympic qualifying tournament will push through in India next month despite the threat of an outbreak of coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19. FIBA 3x3 events head Ignacio Soriano said the first reaction of FIBA is to keep the Olympic qualifying tournament in India as it is. Soriano said the Manila Masters, the second World Tour Masters of the year, will continue as scheduled even if the Philippines has 3 confirmed COVID-19 cases. However, he bared that the FIBA is looking to relocate the FIBA 3x3 Asia Cup in Changsha, capital of China's Hunan province. Soriano is in the Philippines to inspect the SM Mega Mall Mega Fashion Hall in Mandaluyong, the site of the FIBA 3x3 World Tour Manila Masters from May 2nd to 3 this year. For his part, Chooks to Go President Ronald Mascareñas expressed interest in having the FIBA 3x3 Asia Cup to be relocated also at the SM Mega Mall Mega Fashion Hall. A group of homegrown artists are inviting the public to appreciate and promote culture and the arts at the second Paugat Festival in Tacloban City. The event showcases the works of local artists and encourage others to explore their own talents. More on this from Lade Cabagani.
The Island of Samar and Leyte Artists Incorporated on Friday opened its second Paugat Culture and Arts Festival at the Rizal Park in Tacloban City. Isla founder Gior said the festival features installation and performance arts from artists in Eastern Visayas. He said this activity is a great avenue to showcase and appreciate all forms of art including poetry, mixed media, tattoo, and theater. Among the activities lined up for the week-long festival are art exhibits, lectures and workshops, photography sessions, film showing, and nightly shows featuring local performers and some invited guests from Bicol and Manila. Gier said some of the paintings and crafts in the exhibit are for sale, which will benefit 10 children displaced after Super Typhoon Yolanda in 2013. This is also a great opportunity to encourage Huaraynons who have passion and talent in arts to join Isla. The festival will run until February 2021. The Paugat Culture and Arts Festival is an initiative of Isla that started in 2019 and held every February to celebrate the National Arts Month. Isla is a group of artists from Eastern Visayas founded in 2018. It is composed of over 200 artists, with its youngest member at 6 years old and the most senior member at 60 years old. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Lade Kabagani.
Let's take another look at today's biggest stories.
President Duterte allows the use of the marijuana extract Cannabidiol for treating epilepsy. The Bureau of Immigration is set to investigate personnel allegedly involved in bribery with Chinese nationals. A lawmaker says media giant ABS-CBN's franchise cannot be resurrected with a provisional authority. And FIBA pushes through with its 3-on-3 tournament in India despite the threat of a COVID-19 outbreak.
Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.